Hello and welcome to Thursday's Not Today with me, Emma Caldwell. I hope you're all right today. Thank you for joining us. Here's what we've got on the show. First, and we're going to be heading to Stapleford and hearing concerns about shoddy repairs to a pothole, making a road crossing more unsafe.
Lots of councillors, lots of residents, lots of business owners, we care about where we live. Everybody's been reporting the state of the roads. It's the county council just letting us out with these, poor standard of so-called repairs.
We'll have more on that story shortly, plus we'll be taking a deeper look into why community groups at a vital city building are being asked to leave within weeks. They're based at the Marcus Garvey Centre in Lenton with fire safety problems, meaning the building needs to be vacated. We'll have more on this with Joe Locker in just a minute. We're also looking at how police think a new 360-degree CCTV camera is going to deter crime and antisocial behaviour across the city.
So I think that it's a tool, it's there for our neighbourhood policing, it links into our neighbourhood policing model and makes sure that we are serving our community in the right way.
And we're going to be diving into a new show coming to Nottingham's Theatre Royal next week. The Shark is Broken explores the drama behind the scenes of Hollywood's first blockbuster, Jaws, and we'll have a bite of that from one of the stars later on. I'm very much looking forward to that one. Plus, in sport, we've got reaction from Panthers head coach Danny Stewart following their loss at home to Guildford last night.
Part of our identity has been kind of calm and composure, and we lost too many puck battles. Passing was sloppy today, 5-on-5 and power play, and we just look stressed at times, and I don't know why. There's no reason to be stressed.
All that and loads more coming up just for you. But first, and as we've discussed on the show this week, vital community groups have voiced their concerns for their future after being told by the council that they must leave their building. Nottingham City Council has told tenants in Lenton's Marcus Garvey Centre to vacate the building in the start of March after fire safety problems were brought to light. But the decision could mean the end for some organisations inside the Grade 2 listed former Rally office building. Our local Democracy reporter Joe Locker went to speak to them earlier on this week, and he joins us now to tell us more. Joe, thank you so much for joining us today. So what's going on? Keep us updated.
Yes, it's a simple question, but a bit more of a complex situation, you could say, for all these people in the building. So, the council says a fire risk assessment was conducted, and it found out there was issues with the fire doors in particular and the compartmentalisation of the building. So I suppose how the building is laid out could potentially pose a risk in terms of fire safety, and the council says the risks warranted the closure of the building entirely, and people have been given around about 28 days to vacate. There's a lot of organisations in the building, so it includes the Howitt building, which on one side you have the Lenton Business Centre, and then the other side you have the Marcus Garvey Centre, which includes quite a grand ballroom on the upper floor. And then just behind that building is the Lenton Business Centre 1. And that's also having to close due to these issues. So there's a lot of people affected.
There really are a lot of people affected, and a lot of people use the Marcus Garvey Centre. And if you don't use it, you will have known the name, you will have heard the name over the years. What's the history of the building?
Yeah, it's quite a fascinating building. If you go inside, it does look dated, but there's this grand hallway with a big stained glass window. It's quite a fascinating building. It'd be sad to see it, completely empty, I suppose. So it was built in around 1931 by the same architect as the council house in Old Market Square. Oh. So that's Cecil Howitt, who the building's named after. And then it was designed primarily as the Rally head offices. So many people in Nottingham and Nottinghamshire and wider will know, Rally was a huge manufacturer of bicycles. I think in 1951 it was producing about 1 million bicycles in that year.
My family used to work there back in the day.
Yeah, exactly. So it was a big player. But the building was sold to the council in the late 1980s as its fortunes waned and things just didn't sell as many bicycles, I suppose. So that's the sort of backstory of this building, and some of these issues probably stem from its age, really, I suppose.
So what are the inhabitants saying about these new plans?
Yeah, so when I went down earlier this week on Monday, we saw an English language session, which was being held for marginalised communities, as the organisation that runs it says. And one of the service users of this, said, it's a really important service to him. There was quite a few people in there, learning English, and it, he said it not only allows him to learn better English, but also communicate and speak to other people as well. So it is quite a community building, really, in a sense. And the guy who runs these sessions, he was saying it's the responsibility of the council as the landlord to sort these issues out, but at the moment it looks quite difficult, and a petition's been set up as well, as we reported earlier this week. The Black Community Action Group set up this petition because they're saying it's a beacon of cultural pride, as you say. A lot of people know what the Marcus Garvey Centre is, a lot of people use it, and it's got about almost 8,000 signatures so far. And
what are the council saying about all of this, Joe?
Yeah, so the council's saying, it's going to keep tenants informed as, it continues to survey the building and find out what's going on and what decisions it's going to make. But it says, look, there's going to be a significant cost to the council, and that comes at a time, as we well know, the council's having to prioritise the services it's legally bound to deliver. So if it can't afford to do them, some documents shown to people at the during a meeting say, the building could potentially be sold or something like that. So,
well, Joe, we appreciate you keeping us updated. I'm sure there's more to this story, and we'll chat with you again soon. Right, we are moving on now, and it's time to talk potholes, and that is because residents and a council are describing a repair in Stapleford as unacceptable. The road surface on Derby Road was in need of vital work earlier on this week and got a temporary fix by the highways workers for Nottinghamshire County Council. But the quality of the initial repair led to people expressing their disbelief about the safety of the road surface and concerns the crossing had actually become more hazardous as a result. Our reporter Kira Byrne went down there to find out more.
Potholes left unfilled and creating cracks within this community. Residents of Stapleford have been left frustrated, criticising Nottinghamshire County Council for what is being described as a botched attempt at a pothole repair on Derby Road. After being initially filled on Tuesday morning, a local shop owner took to social media in disbelief to share the outcome of the hazardous crossing. They said the repair, described even by the council as unacceptable, made the road more unsafe than it was before. And local councillor Richard McRae said he felt let down by authorities' attempt at filling in the hole.
Lots of councillors, lots of residents, lots of business owners, we care about where we live. Everybody's been reporting the state of the roads. It's the county council just letting us out with these, poor standard of so-called repairs.
Kira Hargraves owns Skinderella, the business directly next to the scene. Her social media posts illustrated the initial crumbling repair, with workers returning later that day to deliver a temporary fix, leaving the problem far from resolved. From her shop front window, she's witnessed countless accidents caused by the danger of the road.
People have popped tyres. I've seen people's exhausts come off where the holes have been that deep. We had one lady, she was going over the road to meet one of her friends. As she fell over, her knees got it, and then she hit her head straight down onto the floor. She had to have 9 stitches across her eyebrow. Somebody of that age, let alone any age, it's causing problems. It's just not right.
This latest repair on Derby Road has caused serious concerns with locals about the quality of the work and the council's responsibility in this matter.
It just feels as though they've patched it over quickly and done quite a poor job. So encroached onto the crossing, and I'm just thinking about my parents who are quite elderly. They would struggle to get over that.
It's better than the potholes before. They wasn't doing anything. So we've got to give them credit for that.
And Nottinghamshire County Council did describe the work as completely unacceptable. In their statement, a team was sent to make urgent repairs to the road surface on Derby Road in Stapleford following reports of road damage. The temporary repair they carried out was of a completely unacceptable standard, and this will be investigated. A hotbox team was sent to the site immediately and have now carried out a proper permanent patch repair. Despite hopes that councils will pave the way forward, Nottingham roads remain a work in progress. Kira Byrne for Notts TV.
Thank you, Kira. Right, so let's take some of your news headlines now first. And the trial date for a Nottinghamshire Council leader charged with fraud and tax evasion has been put back by 18 months. Councillor Jason Zadrozny was due to stand trial at Northampton Crown Court this coming Monday after being charged with 12 counts of fraud by false representation and 4 counts of income tax evasion. He's previously appeared at Nottingham Crown Court, where he denied the charges put before him, but the trial had been put back to August next year, though no reason has been given for the delay. Next, and a young burglar who stole a PlayStation 5 from a student complex has been sent to jail. 19-year-old Mohammed Ali entered York House on Mansfield Road in the early hours of December the 5th and stole the £500 console after tailgating a student into the building. He was discovered by police on CCTV after tracking him to 4 shop thefts in the city centre. Ali of Alfred Street North admitted to burglary and the 4 shop thefts in Nottingham Magistrate Court last week and was jailed for 23 weeks. Right, pop and grab yourself a cuppa. Come back after the break as we're going to be chatting about a sleep out event in Newark to support people sleeping rough. Plus, we've got your sports roundup too after the ads. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you in a sec. Hello, welcome back to Thursday's show with me, Emma Caldwell. Thank you so much for joining us today. Here's what's happening in Notts first. And Newstead Abbey will get nearly £1.5 million from the government to fund vital repairs. The historic abbey was added onto the Heritage at Risk Register after a series of urgent repair needs were identified to its structure. But in a statement today, the Department for Culture, Media and Sport revealed the iconic building, which was once, of course, home to the poet Lord Byron, will get the cash to protect the fabric and longevity of the structure, which would enable it to remain accessible to the public. Next, and a new state-of-the-art CCTV room, which could use artificial intelligence to prevent crime, has been approved in Newark. Cabinet members on Newark and Sherwood District Council have approved the new control room, costing £700,000 for the town centre. They say the town is currently covered by CCTV at the police's Sherwood Lodge HQ, but the new facilities mean the district can be covered from one local site. The new facilities will use AI, and councillors say this could spot potential criminality before it even happens. Now we've got a great fundraising event returning to Notts next because the big Newark Sleep Out is back for a 3rd year. The event is a collaborative effort of youth homeless charity Emmaus Trust and Newark and Sherwood's YMCA Community Centre, which will see fundraisers, staff and locals sleeping out under the stars, all to raise money that will help hundreds of young rough sleepers in Newark. Now, last year's event saw 90 people braving the cold and raising more than £20,000. And here to tell us how you can get involved is CEO of the Emmaus Trust, Nikki Burley, and YMCA's Community Fundraising Manager, Becky Dobb. Thank you so much for joining us today. So tell us more about the big Newark Sleep Out.
Shall I go? Yeah. So it's on the 7th of March on a Friday evening this year. We've invited local people, businesses to come and join us for a night under the stars to experience what it's like for a rough sleeper sleeping out for one night only. Thankfully, it's only one night only. For many,
and this is the thing. For you say it's many more for lots of people. The reality is many young people in Newark face many nights without somewhere to sleep, without a roof over their head or a bed to sleep on, don't they?
Yeah, sometimes it's not rough sleeping outside as we're experiencing that night. Sometimes it's sofa surfing, being in families that can't really accommodate them, or being in abusive relationships. So it's not necessarily about sleeping on the streets, it's about that unseen homelessness as well. But we want to do this to get people to think about it really. It's horrible, it's one night and we're lucky because we have facilities there. They don't. So it's about people experiencing that for one night and then thinking about how they can help those people that have no choice.
And I think that's important to say as well. It's not about one night of pretending to be a homeless person. It's about that experience and kind of putting yourself in that position of going, there is that sense of understanding once you've experienced that, because it's a tough night. And like you say, you've got the facilities that maybe someone who was sleeping on the streets wouldn't have that night.
Absolutely. I mean, all we have is we have a sleeping bag and cover ourselves in cardboard boxes. The first year we did it was -3, it nearly went to -4, and it frosted over. The second year, which was last year, it was wind, so it was the wind chill. And until you're kind of out in that all night long, you just don't appreciate how cold you get and how you can't get warm once you're cold. So yeah,
it's a really interesting experience. But you've done this is the third year you're doing this event. What have people said from previous sleep outs?
So I've spoken to a few people afterwards, and very much there was a sense of real humbled by how hard it is and how they had the choice to do it and how so many others don't. They also said many people should try it just to experience that, so that when you walk past a homeless person on the street, you know, there's that whole connection. They've not just been there for 5 minutes, they've been there for weeks or months, and they're cold, they're hungry. It's a real sense of understanding a little bit of what that might be like.
And why is this such an important fundraiser for you?
It's important for us as both charities, as local charities, I think, because we support Newark young people. For us personally at Newark Emmaus Trust, we support 16 to 25-year-olds. And it's important that people understand that not everybody is the same. Everybody's got their own story, everybody's got their own situation. And it raises awareness in Newark and further afield, like thankfully you're having us tonight, that it is something that we can still help, and that we, ideally when I started as a CEO, I said I don't want a job in 5 years. Unfortunately, I've still got a job because homelessness is still there.
And it is. So what the money that's raised from the Big Sleep Out, where will that go? What will happen to that money?
So for us, it goes directly to helping our residents. We've got 41 residents, and it goes directly to helping them to provide vital life skills so they can move on, pay for items such as food to help them cook on a budget, activities to help them to become independent. Becky's is slightly different.
Slightly different. We've got 2 residential care homes in Newark for aged 5 to 16-year-olds, so really young children that unfortunately can't live at home or in their environment. But we also offer scholarships to our Camp Williams and other programmes that we run, because we're trying to break that life cycle so that people don't find themselves ending up homeless, and they've got a positive chance to look at the future.
So remind us when and where it's taking place, and how, and presumably if you want to take part you still can.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So it's this Friday the 7th of March at the Newark and Sherwood Community and Activity Village at the YMCA. And if you go to the YMCA Newark and Sherwood website, there's information there where you can sign up.
I love that. And before you go, I do want to see your hats. You've got hats
You
as
can
well.
get hats this year as well. Oh,
Yeah.
don't we look fetching?
They're lovely and warm as well.
They are, I bet they are. That is wonderful. Well, I hope the event goes amazingly well. And it's such a, like you say, it's such a good opportunity to just go and, you know, experience and get a bit more understanding of what someone goes to, even if it's just for that one night. Thank you so much for coming and sharing with us today.
We appreciate it.
All right, they're good hats, aren't they? Time for your sport now, and we are going to be starting with ice hockey, and that is because the Nottingham Panthers were beaten, unfortunately, in a midweek game at the Motorpoint Arena. Danny Stewart's side welcomed the Guildford Flames to Nottingham in the Elite League last night, and we're looking to capitalise on 2 strong wins over Coventry at the weekend, but they let a 2-0 lead slip to lose 4-2 last night, leaving them 3rd in the table, heading into a clash with second-placed rivals Sheffield Steelers on Saturday. Speaking after that loss, Stewart said his side was sloppy.
We weren't good enough tonight. I thought we got off to a good start. I thought we played well in the first period and maybe even the first 7-8 minutes of the second. But for whatever reason, I just felt like we stopped playing. We lost too many puck battles. Passing was sloppy today, 5-on-5 and power play, and. You know, we just look stressed at times, and I don't know why. There's no reason to be stressed. I know, you know, there's a lot riding on every game down the stretch, but, you know, part of our identity has been kind of calm and composure and, you know, take things as they come. But tonight we just kind of stressed into plays that we don't consistently make, and from that they got a lot of energy.
And we'll have all 6 goals from last night's defeat right here on Notts TV tomorrow night. That'll air in a 2-hour special at 7:30 p.m, so don't forget to tune into that one. On to football now, and Notts County midfielder Conor Grant says the club needs to stop dropping points in winnable games if they're to go on and secure promotion this season. Grant helped the side to take on an early lead in their home match against Colchester on Tuesday night, but they eventually drew the match 1-1. It meant they stayed out of the automatic promotion places. And the midfielder, who also said it was great to get back on the score sheet, believes winning these sorts of games is vital if they want to keep up their momentum.
That's something me and the gaffer have spoke about, getting my numbers up, because I know they haven't been anywhere near good enough this season, but yeah, delighted to score. Just a shame about the result in the end. I think if we're serious about getting promoted this year, these are the type of games we need to win, and yeah, I just don't think the performance level is as good as we can play, and probably a fair result in the end, yeah.
And next up for the Pies, there's a home match with Tranmere on Saturday. Into League One now, and Mansfield will have to wait until Sunday before they're back in action when they welcome promotion-chasing Hollywood-backed Wrexham to the One Call, and that's being shown on Sky Sports. Could we possibly see Hollywood royalty Ryan Reynolds gracing the town centre? It would be good, wouldn't it? Either way, they are going into the match, unfortunately, in poor form, having lost 3-0 at home to Lincoln on Tuesday. After that one, manager Nigel Clough gave an update on who might not be available on Sunday, including Fraser Blake-Tracy.
Yeah, he's the biggest concern with his knee. He just felt something pop in his knee. Obviously, it's a long way from us, didn't quite see it, but he'll have to be looked at, scanned and everything this week. I don't even think about it yet. We'll see who we've got in the next few days. Obviously, we've got Alfie Kilgore and we've got Callum MacDonald available as well. But getting Fraser back on the pitch was a big boost, and then to lose him again, if we have lost him for a period of time, huge blow.
In cricket, and Trent Bridge have confirmed pricings for this summer's T20 Blast fixtures. The Outlaws will be looking to seek a third T20 title, whilst the Blaze will be continuing their fine form after winning last summer's Charlotte Edwards Cup. The competition gets going in the May half-term with a double header involving the Outlaws and the Blaze on May the 30th. Early bird tickets for any of the games bought between now and early May are £20, whilst the Outlaw fixtures with the Vikings on July the 11th will cost fans just £10. And in netball, Nottingham's Forest's new side have announced a partnership with the University of Nottingham to support its training programme for future talent. The university's David Ross Sports Village will host the training projects for the new netball side, who kick off their inaugural season at the Motorpoint Arena next month. The partnership will see Forest and the University of Nottingham utilising the indoor courts of the Sports Village, which have performance analysis technology, as they train to become a leading netball side. Time now for your Thursday picture of the day. Thank you so much to Rachel Hobbs. Look at this wonderful winter shot of Woollerton Park Lake. It's been a very chilly day today, a lot of rain and wind. Let's look at the weather. It's looking warmer, but not much brighter, I'm afraid. Tonight will be dropping to 10 degrees. Tomorrow will be overcast for most of the day. Temperatures staying warm though, with highs of 14 and lows of 8. Looking ahead to Saturday, and we can expect to see some sunny intervals, thank goodness, with highs of 13 and lows of 7. You're probably going to need a coat and a brolly. Let's take another short break now, but when we get back, we'll be chatting with the founder of an alternative provision for children who've been excluded from mainstream schools. All of that's on the way next. Hello and welcome back to Notts Today with me, Emma Calder. I hope you're all right today. Thank you for joining us. Here's some more news headlines on Thursday. First, a Mansfield regeneration project could be completed 6 months earlier from a plan to remove asbestos was approved. The work to regenerate the town's old Beals department store on Stockwell Gate would see the building converted into a new community facility. It's called the Mansfield Connect project, and it would also become home to the District Council too. Work was due to last until 2028, but this could now be completed half a year earlier after the authority approved a £5.5 million project, which includes removing dangerous asbestos materials. Next, an Notts Council leader has tried to bust a myth that parking wardens aren't out and about after figures showed they patrolled hotspots more than 230 times last year. Nottinghamshire County Council has 25 civil enforcement officers, more commonly known as road wardens, inspecting traffic and parking hotspots like schools, and the authority say 234 visits took place in the last year to ensure better road safety and less congestion for pedestrians. There's also things there to ensure things like double yellow lines outside schools are obeyed too. Right, let's see what we can get up to with our What's On guide tonight. First, we've got some food making royalty coming to the Theatre Royal as Chef James Martin is here to educate and entertain. I love him. As well as cook some tasty dishes live on stage too. And if that's something you wanted on your plate tonight, that starts at 7:30. There are some tickets still available. And something dark is coming to Beeston's Parish Church as the Nottingham Shakespeare Company's performance, The Tragedy of Macbeth, is here, bringing to life this tale of power, passion and deceit. It starts at 7. Tickets for that are £16. And finally, something for you indie fans. Pentair are returning to Nottingham's Rescue Rooms as part of their UK tour. It starts at 7:30 and tickets for that are still up for grabs. Whatever you're doing this Thursday night, have a good one. Time for our next guests now, and for many students, a school can often be a difficult time, especially for those who've been excluded. Last year saw more than 200 young people permanently excluded in Nottingham, meaning they missed key aspects of their education. But one city organisation is helping kids to get back to the books. The Safe Haven Alternative Provision School in Radford allows excluded pupils to come and learn outside mainstream environments to help appeal to their individual needs. It's now been running for a year and is already seeing great strides with high attendance, increasing staff and a new site on the horizon too. And here to tell us more are CEO Shamraz Younes and School Head of Teaching Louise Smith. Thank you so much for joining us today. So let's start with you. Tell us more about the school. How did it all come about?
So SHAPE, as in Safe Haven Alternative Provision and Excellence, is part of the Safe Haven Support Care and Education Group, founded over 12 years ago. It is a family-owned business. Originally, we started supporting care leavers, 16 to 25 years old, then going into younger ages, 8 to 17-year-old children who do come from a care background. Working with those young people myself directly, I saw a gap in the market in terms of these young people. Actually, every child has a right to education, and there was young people who were coming to us who could not access education because either they were coming from a different county or they were excluded from mainstream education for one or two reasons. And that's where the whole idea of the alternative provision came about. It has been a dream for 10 years, part of the group. However, we've managed to succeed in the last 12 months and actually get it open and provide a very nice atmosphere for these young people to stride in.
And this is it. It's gone really well. We'll talk more about that in just a second. Louise, you're the head of teaching. How do SHAPE lessons differ from a mainstream school?
So the biggest difference is that our lessons are focused on the individual student and where they actually are. As a provision, we specialise in engagement and re-engagement through the arts and music. So every student accesses English and maths as they need to, but they also do art and urban art and spray painting and digital media and music production and so much more that appeals to them as individuals, which allows them to take those steps to be able to learn, because so many of our young people have had really difficult kind of starts in life. If you look at our profile of students, the vast majority have been victims of abuse, have been groomed for criminal exploitation, they've been sexually assaulted, they've had really, really difficult lives leading up to their permanent exclusion from school, at which point we provide a setting where we care about them as an individual and look at what they need for their next steps.
And it seems to be working very, very well indeed. So congratulations to you both. the attendance for the school is also really good as well. The figures from the Department of Education, I've got it here, show that Nottingham has one of the worst student attendance records in the country, but your attendance records are good.
They are. Nottingham, as you say, is one of the worst in the country. It's actually been picked as one of the 10 that's going to get extra government support in order to improve attendance. And our attendance is improving so much. When I started in September, we were average, but we've put on 15% attendance, and we've got some young people who have joined us, came to us with an attendance record of 10 or 15% in mainstream, and we're now at 95 within about 6 weeks.
I mean, that's incredible. And what do you attribute the success of the school to?
I would say firstly is the staffing. So in terms of Louise and her team, it is the willingness to help these young people. I believe the cohort of young people that we do have don't always fit into mainstream education, whereas you've got a standardised curriculum. However, at SHAPE, what we have developed is a more young person-centred curriculum, so it kind of focuses more on their needs and working around them, rather than, like I said, like a standardised curriculum like they teach in mainstream schools.
And what's next? Because you've had a great first year. What does the future hold?
So hopefully we have gone for our independent school status, which will enable us to have young people full-time. At the moment, we can only have 4 young people full-time, and the rest are all 55 maximum capacity that we can have will be part-time. So they come to us for 3 days. 2 days they either go back to mainstream or another alternative provision. Our long-term plan is to achieve the independent school status, hopefully by the next academic year. And once we achieve that, these young people can be with us full-time. And we are already looking at our second campus ready for September 2025.
Amazing. We are totally running out of time, but if people want to find out more, where can they go?
You can go onto the group website, so it's www.safehaven-group.co.uk, and everything is on there.
Lovely. Thank you so much for coming in and talking to us.
Thank you.
Right, let's have another look at something from earlier on, and that is when we discussed potholes. We did so because residents and a council are describing a repair in Stapleford as unacceptable. The road surface on Derby Road was in need of vital work earlier on this week and got a temporary fix by highways workers for Nottinghamshire County Council. But the quality of the initial repair led to people expressing their disbelief about the state of the road surface and concerns the crossing had actually become more hazardous as a result. Our reporter Kira Byrne went to find out more.
Potholes left unfilled and creating cracks within this community. Residents of Stapleford have been left frustrated, criticising Nottinghamshire County Council for what is being described as a botched attempt at a pothole repair on Derby Road. After being initially filled on Tuesday morning, a local shop owner took to social media in disbelief to share the outcome of the hazardous crossing. They said the repair, described even by the council as unacceptable, made the road more unsafe than it was before. And local councillor Richard McRae said he felt let down by authorities' attempt at filling in the hole.
Lots of councillors, lots of residents, lots of business owners, we care about where we live. Everybody's been reporting the state of the roads. So County Council just letting us out with these, poor standard of so-called repairs.
Kira Hargraves owns Skinderella, the business directly next to the scene. Her social media posts illustrated the initial crumbling repair, with workers returning later that day to deliver a temporary fix, leaving the problem far from resolved. From her shop front window, she's witnessed countless accidents caused by the danger of the road.
People have popped tyres. I've seen people's exhausts come off where the holes have been that deep. We had one lady, she was going over the road to meet one of her friends. As she fell over, her knees got it, and then she hit her head straight down onto the floor. She had to have 9 stitches across her eyebrow. Somebody of that age, let alone any age, it's causing problems. It's just not right.
This latest repair on Derby Road has caused serious concerns with locals about the quality of the work and the council's responsibility in this matter.
It just feels as though they've patched it over quickly and done quite a poor job. So encroached onto the crossing, and I'm just thinking about my parents who are quite elderly. They would struggle to get over that.
It's better than the potholes before. They wasn't doing anything. So we've got to give them credit for that.
And Nottinghamshire County Council did describe the work as completely unacceptable. In their statement, a team was sent to make urgent repairs to the road surface on Derby Road in Stapleford following reports of road damage. The temporary repair they carried out was of a completely unacceptable standard, and this will be investigated. A hotbox team was sent to the site immediately and have now carried out a proper permanent patch repair. Despite hopes that councils will pave the way forward, Nottingham roads remain a work in progress. Kira Byrne for Notts TV.
Thank you, Kira. Right, let's have a look at some more of your news headlines now. First, a Nottinghamshire police officer could be referred to prosecutors after a fatal crash involving a police van and a former Nottingham Post photographer. 8-year-old Trevor Bartlett died in a collision with a police vehicle as he walked home from his local pub on the A52 Derby Road back in December 2023. Now, an independent Office for Police Conduct investigation has led to a Crown Court Prosecution Service referral relating to Trevor's death, as well as a misconduct proceeding saying the responsible officer may have committed a criminal offence. Next, and a man who was caught with Class A drugs in a Nottingham car park after an off-duty police officer intervened in a fight. The sergeant was driving out of the St James's Street car park last Saturday when he saw two men fighting. One of them was agitated and moved towards the police officer, who then requested backup. Moments later, he was arrested and officers found a small amount of ecstasy in his pocket. The 21-year-old was arrested for this and for assaulting an emergency worker. He was given a conditional police caution. All right, let's take one final break now, but don't go anywhere because we are going to be hearing how police think a new mobile camera van will deter crime and antisocial behaviour across the city. Plus, our final guest has got something we can certainly get our teeth stuck into. We'll have more on that in just a few minutes. Hello and welcome back to Thursday's show with me, Emma Caldwell. I hope you're all right today. Thank you so much for joining us. Here's some more of what's happening in Notts today. First, an art installation bringing people closer to the wonders of the earth is coming to Mansfield. The Town Palace Theatre will host Gaia, a breathtaking 6-metre replica of our blue and green planet. Look at that, it's gorgeous, which has previously called into Southwell Minster and called it its home. The artwork was created by renowned artist Luke Jerram, who brought the Earth to Southwell back in 2023. Also brought his moon installation to the Minster last year too. The Earth will be on display in Mansfield for 5 days from April the 22nd, which is World Earth Day. It's well worth seeing. Next, and water improvements are on the way at Home Pierpont Country Park to remove high levels of blue-green algae in a lake. It comes after the algae, which can cause skin irritation and stomach upset in humans, caused 3 swim portions of the outlaw triathlon had to be called off in two days before last year's event. That decision was taken to protect participants from falling ill. But speaking this week, the event's organisers and the venue said water quality improvements are coming ahead of this year's event, which will take place in July. Now, Nottinghamshire Police have introduced new measures to improve the safety of our communities against antisocial behaviour. A new 360-degree redeployable CCTV van was launched today and aims to continue the dropping number of ASB cases in the city centre. Consisting of 6 cameras, 2 of which are on an extendable pole, the van cost around £135,000 to supply and was funded by the Hotspot Response Programme. Around £40,000 came from Nottinghamshire Police and the other £95,000 from a Home Office grant.
So the vehicle itself's got two screens. There's 4 cameras on this left-hand screen, which are the vehicle cameras on the outside of the vehicle itself, covering the immediate vicinity and protecting the officer within inside. And then on the right-hand screen is a really high-definition camera. That's the one that's on the mast. 360-degree camera. It's really clear footage. But also it's got a really good optical zoom, so there's 30 times optical zoom on the camera itself. So we can try and go across towards the car park. Should be able to make out text on the... So there's 2 things really. Wherever it's deployed, obviously the visible presence is a large vehicle, it's marked up as a police vehicle, so that will provide a deterrent and reassurance to the community. But also there's cameras on it, there's 6 cameras in total on it that will capture live footage of issues as and when they occur. That will allow us to use that in evidential processes to either deal with people through the courts or immediate justice for low-level antisocial behaviour, etc.
I think it takes a raft of different options, okay? So with antisocial behaviour, prevention is one of the actions, okay? Working and trying to make sure that we engage with the individuals who are committing that antisocial behaviour, and then of course there's a more extreme where we have to prosecute against individuals who are not prepared to engage. So I think that it's a tool, it's there for our neighbourhood policing, it links into our neighbourhood policing model and makes sure that we are serving our community in the right way.
And it's time for my final guest now, and here is something you can really sink your teeth into, because we've got a new comedy play that delves into the choppy waters behind the filming of Hollywood's first big blockbuster. The Shark is Broken takes a tongue-in-cheek look into the events that transpired behind the scenes of Steven Spielberg's shark horror classic Jaws, which is celebrating its 50th anniversary next year. The play stars Ian Shaw, who plays his actual father, Robert Shaw, as well as my next guest, Ashley Margulies, who plays British actor Richard Dreyfuss. He joined me earlier on, and I think it went swimmingly. Ashley, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. So tell us more about the play, because it sounds incredible.
Yeah, so The Shark is Broken. It's basically, it's been written by Ian Shaw, and it's a play about the making of Jaws, essentially. Everything that happened whilst they were filming that went wrong. So you meet, basically during the filming of Jaws, the shark didn't work, so they spent a lot of time waiting around for it to be ready enough for them to film. And we meet Roy Scheider, Richard Dreyfuss, and Robert Shaw on the boat, the Orca, and we sort of jump in on little segments of what happens to their characters whilst they're waiting to film. So it's basically just conversations, really, between the three actors.
So this is a really interesting concept, and you mentioned the Shaw family there. So the play stars Ian Shaw, who plays his father, Robert Shaw, who was, of course, the shark hunter in the original film. What is that like to perform with him, and for him to be performing, and I think he wrote it as well, didn't he?
Yeah, he wrote it. I mean, yeah, there's a very meta level and an emotional kind of connection for him with the show. It's really interesting seeing that and hearing it every night. You know, the certain lines that really like ping out to you when you're going, oh wow, you're talking about your father and his upbringing, and you know, because really it's a play about these three men sharing with each other, and they share their upbringings, what happened to them growing up, and how they're the people that they are today. It's a really fascinating thing, and it you know, it opens a lot of conversations, which is great for us to kind of explore in the play and in life.
Now, see, the thing is, it's such an iconic film, celebrating 50 years since the film was released, before either of us were born. What do you think it is about Jaws that just has people's imaginations? It's just captured everybody, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has. I mean, I think it changed cinema. You know, I think cinematically, visually, it's an amazing film. You know, for the time that it was made, shooting on location, the fact that they kind of made the shark the sort of villain of the thing. You know, people hadn't really seen sharks, I don't think, in the 70s in that kind of cinematic thing. And you know, I think all the characters, like, there's not a moment in the film that doesn't land well. It's really funny. It's also really scary, and I think, you know, the music and the way they shot it just creates this tension all the way through, which is really exciting, I think. And I think that's why the film is still so loved.
And we talk about the fact that the film is loved, which it absolutely is, celebrating 50 years this year. Do you need to have seen Jaws to be able to enjoy the production?
No. I mean, there's definitely elements that, if you've seen the film, there's lots of little bits on the set that are like homages to the original, and things like, you know, you see some set pieces and things, and we're dressed like the characters. But ultimately, this is a play about the three actors, and it's about their time filming. So you never really see any of the filming of Jaws. You only really see them sat while they're waiting to film. And, you know, you talk about things as mundane as the weather, but then also when you're in a claustrophobic small space like a boat for 9 weeks, you're going to start sharing all sorts of things about life, about your parents, your family, everything. So it's a really enjoyable bit of theatre that I think, if you like Hollywood movies and nostalgia and the 1970s, you're going to get a lot from it. And so you definitely don't need to have seen the film.
I love it. And what kind of reaction have you had from audiences so far?
I mean, everyone's been really, really lovely about the play. They've all seemed to enjoy it. I think what's really nice, especially, is being involved in a production at the minute, whilst everything in the world is so dark and scary and unsettling, to be able to come and have an enjoyable night at the theatre where you can just take it for what it is. It's a bit of cinematic history. There's a lot of comedy in it, a lot of heart and truth, but you're not going away from it being too overly like worried about anything or having to kind of think about views on stuff. I think it's just a really enjoyable bit of an evening out, and audiences have been enjoying it, and the Jaws fans have been loving it.
Absolutely love it. Cannot wait for it to come to Nottingham next Wednesday through to Saturday, the 1st of March at the Theatre Royal.
Yes.
Ashley, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much. Lovely to talk to you.
Oh, what a nice man he is. I cannot wait to see that. It just sounds really funny as well. And aren't those 3 actors just perfectly cast? They look exactly how you think they should look. Right, elsewhere on the channel. And recently we aired the very latest edition of the Notts TV debate. Francis Finn returned with another panel of local leaders to discuss the hottest issues hitting the headlines, including whether we should create more statues in the city centre and who should get them. That's after the Standing in This Place statues opened near the Old Broad Marsh earlier this month. They are exceptional. If you've not seen them in the city centre yet, I recommend it. You can catch up with the full show on our websites and on our official YouTube channel right now, but just for you, here's some of that discussion.
When they unveil these sculptures, there have been some horror stories over the last few years, but it's a beautiful piece of work. So, I mean, just first, your reflections on that. I mean, Melita, you talked earlier on about you being an immigrant, and now we are learning that we need to acknowledge and pay tribute to what has happened. We're not rewriting history, but we're trying to put some of those wrongs right. Does it make you feel good?
It certainly does. I'm so proud of it, and the fact that I know the lady, Louise Garvey, the lady whose statues who's representing that. I think, and it goes back to when I'm talking about immigrants, and these are the things that immigration or people from other countries have done and made contribution. It's good to see that there's a statue that's been showed of somebody, or that era of people have made to this country the contribution, because a lot of people don't see it like that. And if you can walk in town, I mean, probably our grandchildren, my grandchildren, I can, I'll go back a bit. We talk about when we talk about the war, because I went to see the statue yesterday, and it's amazing. And this conversation among people was talking, and somebody was saying, when we talked about the World War and black people being in the war, and the younger generation, like my grandkids or great-grandkids, says, what's it got to do with us? It's got nothing to do with this. Well, these are things that need to be taught and to learn that
so
these
this is
people...
a good step.
It's a good stuff, yes.
Well, I just wonder then, with that...
All right, it's time for your picture of the day for Thursday. Now, thank you so much to Rachel Hobbs. Look at that wonderful winter shot of Woolerton Park Lake. And of course, if you do want to get your pictures to us, you can send them on all the socials at Notts_TV. We'd love to see them. As for your weather, it's looking warmer, but not much brighter, I'm afraid. Tonight is going to be dropping to only 10 degrees. Tomorrow will be overcast for most of the day. Those temperatures staying warm, though, with highs of 14 degrees and lows of 8. So windy, though, isn't it? Looking ahead to Saturday, and we can expect to see some sunny intervals. Hooray! With highs of 13 and lows of 7. And that is it for today. Thank you, as always, to all of our great guests. I'm back same time tomorrow to do it all over again. But until then, from everyone on the team and from me, enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye-bye.